You're on the project team implementing a new software platform, but you are on the business side there as a subject matter expert. And at the end of the meeting, you hear the project manager say something like, for the next meeting, Sarah, I'm going to have you take the lead on defining the new endpoints and making sure everything integrates back with the current systems. And then I really need you to make sure that you create a separate repo for this so that we have it all documented. George, I'm going to have you take the lead on reviewing the infrastructure and making sure that we can handle the increased traffic. And then we're going to need to finalize the security groups to make sure that our authentication and authorization is ready to go. Once that's all done, we'll bring it into the staging environment and test everything before we move it into production. Let's translate all of that IT into business speak. First up, when you hear repo, that is code for documentation. As a business user, usually this isn't where you're going to be getting your documentation. This is more focused on making sure that everything associated with the code is managed in a control system. Then we have API endpoints. First up, I think it's important to recognize that an API is a type of integration. This means two systems trading information back and forth. The endpoints are essentially the URLs or the addresses that are being used to send the envelopes of data back and forth. Infrastructure is a really foundational term in the IT world, and it specifically focuses on things like the servers, the network, the storage, all of the components that are driving the software and the services that you're consuming as an end user. As you implement new tools, you need to make sure that your infrastructure can handle the demand that's going to be put on it. Now we've got authentication and authorization, which sometimes will go hand in hand. Authentication is identifying the user or the who and making sure that their credentials are tied to the right level of authorization and determining what that user is actually able to get access to. Combination of authentication and authorization is what makes sure that somebody who is working in one role has access to different information than the VP might. And then last but not least, we have staging and production environments that again kind of go hand in hand. The staging environment is an environment that mimics the production environment, but isn't live. This is where you would test new functionality to make sure everything is working right. And then after you're done testing in a staging environment, you move it into production, which is really the live system where customers or end users are actually interacting with the solution. And we use the staging environments and testing environments to make sure that production stays stable and we're not messing anything up while we're making changes. Heard another term in a meeting that you're not quite sure what it means? Throw it into the comments and we can do another translation episode.